Good evening. It's now roughly 7:30 on the evening of Monday the 21st of August. I'm Andy and welcome to my allotment. Sorry there wasn't an update from last week, but unfortunately I was away at the weekend, went camping, and then since I've been back the weather has just not been right for me to come down and take a film, so there's been not a lot going on because of the weather, so you've not really missed much, but there was a gap and I do apologise for that. So let's have a spin round and see what's happening on the plot. First of all, I'll start over in this little corner, which I don't normally show you. Now, these here are the volunteer potatoes from last year. The first thing I ever planted last year was potatoes in this little patch here. It took me about 4 hours to dig a 4-foot square bed, nearly killed me, planted them in a rainstorm, and I got potatoes. I was over the moon with it last year, absolutely. And this year, although I thought I took them all out, as always, they're volunteers. So I was doing nothing else with this space, I've left them there, and they're now getting flowers on them, which is fantastic. Moving on to the proper potato bed. As you can see, I've been busy. The potatoes at this end were ready, so they've come out. Now I did this on Saturday, and I took a very quick video on Saturday to show you the yield, and I'll stop now and insert that video so you can see how we got on. It's now Saturday the 17th of August, I think it is. It's about midday, and I thought I'd just give a quick update to show you the haul from today. Some of the potato plants I put in the ground have basically fallen over and are ready to be dug up. So I've dug up the first 2 rows. What we've got here on the right hand side is Maris Piper. Now that's from 4 potatoes that went in the ground. I haven't weighed these yet, but there looks to be probably about 7 or 8 pounds there, I think. And on the left, what we've got there is the result of 5 Anya potatoes. Again, not weighed them, but I reckon there's probably 5 pound there. Now, the problem I found with these potatoes when I was digging them, the Maris Piper were very, very close to the surface. A lot have breached the surface. Pretty much like this one here at the back, as you can see, it's going slightly green. I'm probably going to throw that one, to be honest. I might have a look and see how green it is on the inside and see how much of it I can save rather than throwing it all away. But the other problem I had with the Maris Piper is that there's a lot of slug damage on them. I'm not sure if I can see any on here at the moment. No, there's nothing on these. Oh yeah, there's one there, as you can see. There's a lovely slug hole there. Now, some of the bigger potatoes, absolutely huge things, bigger than that one even. I mean, the size of that. But they're bigger than that, but the problem was slugs had got into them, hole in the middle, and it was basically rotting from the inside out. So I probably lost about 3 pound of potatoes that way, and about 4 potatoes alone. The Anya, on the other hand, even when they have touched the surface, haven't really turned green. So that's a plus for them. There is absolutely no slug damage whatsoever. Not a single one. I've checked virtually all of them, not a single one. There's some decent sized ones in there as well. I mean, as you can see, this one, decent size. There's also some little tiddlers as well, but they're really sweet, so I don't mind those. So, just a very quick update, a couple of minutes worth, just to show you how we're getting on with the potatoes. This, is to say, has come out of 1 row. I haven't done a bucket yet. When I do the buckets, I'll do a comparison and see what we can do. Speak to you later. Hi, just one other thing I quickly wanted to show you. On the potatoes, after they've flowered, you quite often get these things, which are known as true potato seed, or you'll see them abbreviated as TPS. These are poisonous. You cannot eat these. They're worse than green potatoes for you. So if you do get these on your potatoes, it's a sign your potatoes are ready to come out, because they're producing this fruit, then they're taking energy away from the potatoes. But having said that, not done too badly, have I? But just in case you haven't seen them before, these green things are true potato seed. Make sure you get them all off your plot. Don't eat them, and get rid. Okay, anyway, back to Monday night. As you can see at the front here, there's still a row of Anya waiting to come out, and there's also what I think is Casablanca behind them, which are also probably ready. I'm not bringing those out the ground yet, pure and simply because I've got so many potatoes, as you've seen from the first harvest, that I don't need any more yet. Same goes with the buckets. There's a few buckets there in the middle, the Anya especially, they need emptying, but again, they're going to wait till I've eaten up what I've got. Right, the brassica bed. is doing pretty well. A few holes in it, as you'd expect. As always with these things, the cabbage whites do get in and they do start to lay their eggs, but there have not been many. I've taken the pipe off a couple of times and had a look, and it's not doing that bad. Right, onto the square foot gardening bed. These are broccoli, but they're the biggest broccoli I've ever seen, so I'm not sure what I planted here. The beans in the middle, Mr. Fortune beans, bright purple. Now I've harvested some of those, so I'll show you those in a moment. Everything else is doing absolutely fantastic, apart from the fact the spinach has gone to flower, gone to seed rather. So again, that needs just trimming off the top, and I'm hoping that the rest of it will survive and I'll be able to have some out of there. I've had some carrots out of here as well, they were very nice. I've got some more I've harvested today which I'll show you. The chard is starting to go to seed again. I'll just trim that back and it'll be fine, and I'll take it from there with this bed. Okay, this next bed, cleared all this out on Saturday. There's the perpetual spinach in the corner that we had before, and here we've got lots of tomatoes that were in the polytunnel, but they needed potting out. I've got no more space in the polytunnel whatsoever. It's absolutely rammed full because I've had to put some of the others in bigger pots. So I brought some of the tomatoes out here. Another experiment really. I've got pretty much one of each variety, or two or three in some cases, out here. I'm going to see how they fare over the end of the summer. And there's the sweet corn. That should have gone out about 6 weeks ago. I know it's too late before anyone tells me. I realise it's going to be far too late, but it was either plant it out or lose it. So what have I got to lose? A bit of space and 5 minutes of time. Okay, I've trimmed back the comfrey bush as it was getting a bit big, and the courgette under there has now got a new lease of life. Before it was getting covered and squashed and it wasn't really producing anything. I've had a couple off it since, and the walking onion, I'm not sure if you can see that properly, is pretty much ready for harvesting the warbills. I've got a few promised to people from last year and they never arrived when I sent them in the post, so I'll send some off again this year. If anybody wants any of the bulbils from the walking onions, by the way, just drop me a line with your address and we can organise it, no problems. Okay, leeks. As you can see, some of these leeks are starting to get rust. Not sure whether it came from the garlic that was in there before, because that got rust as well. But they're setting up flower spikes. So the ones with flower spikes, I've cut those off and harvested a few. They're still fine to eat, they're very nice, but not going to do very much else, I don't think, while there's rust all over them. And this bed needs weeding as well, because it's full of mare's tail and grass and all sorts. Onion bed. Again, quite a bit of mare's tail in there because I haven't weeded it for 2 weeks. The devastation is me. I just threw the bits of onion back on it as I peeled one when I took it out. Lovely great big red onion. The rest of these are coming out probably this week, some of them. The ones that are still standing up are fine, they're going to stay in. The ones at this end, mostly been trampled. I've got a feeling it's the fox because he's dug little holes all over, as you can see. The holes on there aren't me, that's the fox. So bear with us on that one. Fruit beds. This bed has just been part filled. A lot of weeds in there still to be brought out. The white flowers you see there is coriander, which is I'm leaving to go to seed. And I don't know if you can see this there, but got quite a lot of seed on the coriander head there. This next one here is dill with the yellow flowers. I'm going to trim the yellow flowers off that and then start harvesting the fronds. Dry them, freeze them, and they'll be great. Underneath there, the pinky purpley leaves is chervil, doing great. In the hanging baskets, got quite a few tomatoes in there, I don't know if you can see that. And outside of here, there's quite a few as well, which are lovely big green things. Now, this is supposed to be either a cherry tomato or a tumbling tomato. It ain't tumbling and they don't like cherries, so I haven't got a clue what it was, but that's what I was told it was when I put it in. Raspberry canes here are going a bit wild. They need trimming back. The ones that had the old fruit on are doing fine. Got some fruit, more fruit coming here, which is going to be from the autumn fruiting variety, obviously. And these canes that say when I bought them from Aldi were supposed to be recurrents. They're definitely raspberries, but no sign of fruit on them at the moment, so I don't know what sort they are. The strawberries on the other side again are going wild. They'll need trimming right back because they're even starting to cover over the herbs. Got some marjoram at the corner with the pink flowers, some thyme, some mint which is disappearing inside. Sage is holding its own, thank God, and then some more mint underneath the other hanging baskets, which are doing fine. Okay, I'll quickly show you inside the polytunnel and show you what's going on here. Okay, these are the tomatoes that were in the small pots. They've now been potted onto bigger pots, and as you can see, we're getting some decent sized fruits. This is Roma, that's a plum tomato. Nothing changing colour on it at the moment. Having said that, I've got a couple of red ones inside there, and that's a totem, I think it is. Actually no, this is the Roma, but something's having a bite of it. Oh dear, I'll have to find out what that was. I'll take that one off anyway. Lovely. Slugs, perhaps, I don't know. Whatever it is, I'll take it home. But as I say, there's some cracking big tomatoes on here. So you can see the size of that one, my hand behind it just about. I'm doing rather well. As I said, the rest of the tomatoes I've had to pot on into bigger pots, which means that there's now no room in here for anything else. So that's why those are planted outside. Chilies, doing absolutely fantastic. I don't know if you can see these properly, but we've got some almost black ones there. Those are, what are they? Hang on a second. Cayenne purples. Then there's some Numax Twilight, little tiny things, but by God, they pack a punch. Some green chilies, which are the Thai culinary. They're not too hot. And then I've got some others down here, which are greeny blue to start with. Now, I was told that these were Fearless Blue, but when they're ripe, they go bright red, absolutely vivid bright red. So I don't know if they are or not. If anyone's grown a Fearless Blue, let me know if they do go bright red. And I've got 2 cucumber plants here, which have been potted on into bigger pots, and they're actually starting to give fruit. There's a couple of fruit coming on them. I'll show you on here, so you can see that at all. There's a get that leaf out of the way, sorry about that, and that leaf. Tiny fruit there. Not doing very much at the moment, so I'm not sure if they'll do very much at all. Now, while I'm in the polytunnel, if I remember correctly, it was Rebel-esque who asked about the polytunnel and whether I'd recommend it and how I secured it to the ground. I promised I'd show you how I secured it, and this is the only corner I can really get to in here, so I'll show you on this corner. It's the same on every leg. What I've got here is a broomstick. That broomstick has been hammered 2 foot into the ground alongside every single upright. I can show you one on this side as well, probably easier to see there. I've then put the uprights alongside them, gaffer taped it all the way down. As you can see, I've also gaffer taped every joint, and there's one on the ceiling there that's gaffer taped and one at the back that's gaffer taped. But basically the whole thing is fastened into the ground with 6 of these poles. Now I managed to get those from my pound shop at £1 each. I had a quick word with the manager. They were selling brushes for £2. I asked him how much for just the handles. He went and got me half a dozen for £6. So that wasn't bad. So the whole thing is anchored in by those. This thing is not going anywhere. I've had severe winds against this, and it's rocked the sides up, it's pulled the sides a bit, but at the end of the day it survived and we're doing well. Okay, next thing that's been happening is, which you may have already glimpsed as I've been walking around, my shed now has a roof. Looks like it's been made by Fred Flintstone, admittedly, because I've used scaffolding boards for that, so it's 1.5 inches thick nearly, and it's still got to be waterproof. Got waterproofing on it. Sorry, not waterproofing. Damp proofing membrane on it, and then the actual felting to go over the top. We're doing it on Saturday. We just ran out of time. So this coming Saturday is the D-day for this to be done, as long as the weather holds. And I'll just show you quickly inside. Well, it's a shed, you know. Nothing spectacular about it at all. But at the end of the day, it'll keep everything dry, and especially when I get the shelving on. The roofing on. What I'm planning on doing is putting some sort of drop down table in front of the window, so when I'm not using it I can fold it up and cover the window and have a bit more security. So that's the plan for in here anyway. Tools we kept in here and other bits and pieces that I don't want in the polytunnel, chairs, that sort of thing. But I've now got a shed with a roof. Right, quickly move on to the bean bed. As you can see, lots and lots of life. On this side I've got French beans. These are Mr. Fern's beans, I think, not Mr. Fortune. I think there's Mr. Fern's. Nothing on these at the moment because they were put in quite late. But down in the middle here, there's a courgette. Now this courgette I was moaning about, saying it wasn't producing and I didn't know why. And so the other day I put my hand down there to pull off one small courgette. I found a larger one underneath. And then when I tried to pull it off I needed two hands. If I remember, I'll put a picture of it at the end of this when I get home. Because I pulled the damn thing out and it was £5 courgette. It was absolutely massive. Also in the middle there you can see the sweet corn growing up through. There are 7 sweet corn in there in total. There were 2 that started off fairly early, they're well developed, and the rest of them were a little bit later on. They're just starting to form cobs now. I'm doing the usual, running hand through the pollen at the top and wiping it on the tassels and trying to get it as developed as possible. Now, the bean arch is doing absolutely wonderful. You know, I've just harvested in here. I've taken loads out. I'll show you that in a moment what I've done. And look, just in there now, there's about half a dozen beans there. In fact, I can see some more there. What is it with these beans that you harvest them, you take off dozens of the damn things, you can't find any more, and the next time you open your eyes to look in the place, there's loads of them. They're growing while my back's turned, I'm sure they are. Anyway, beans. I've got Scarlet Emperor on this side, which are lovely long green beans. On this right hand side, I'll just walk in here, excuse me for dropping down a bit, but inside here on this side I've got some Enorma runner beans, which is the red flowers. I've also got some Mr. Fern's what's after there? Green beans, get it right, which are these lovely pinky flowers. Now I'm getting 2 different sorts of beans from this side. I'm getting some long green ones, which I would expect as being runner beans, but I'm also getting some mottled coloured ones. I mean, this one's just starting to go. I don't know if you can see at the top there, it's like a darky colour. Now I think that, in fact I'm certain that is the French bean, and as it goes a bit bigger it gets a darker colour and it gets mottled. I've harvested some and I'll show you those in a few moments, but as you can see the beans are doing fantastic. See, there's even more there that I've missed hanging down from the ceiling and even more. Oh my god. Oh well, absolutely dozens and dozens. Look at this lot. Absolutely hundreds of the damn things. I just can't pick them fast enough. Not that I'm complaining. I've never grown beans before, and I now know not to grow quite as many next time. Or maybe not. And then out here, that's the little pumpkin. Put my hand in there, you can see that. It's probably the size of a child's football now. We're probably talking about 8 inches across maybe. Now the one problem I found with the bean arch is that although it's absolutely fantastic, the wind blew on the other side and the weight of the beans has caused a lovely windbreak, so the wind has basically bent it over, and I've got a post here now holding it up. That is wedged in solid under there, up against the arch, because without that the whole thing leans over this way dramatically and I can't walk underneath it anymore. But still, that's the way it goes. I'll just quickly show you the other pumpkins rather. This is a bigger pumpkin. As you can see, this one is now 12 inches across. Quite a decent size, and it's doing well. But that's the baby. This is the daddy. This one here is absolutely massive. Put my hand on it. This thing is probably somewhere in the region of 18 inches across, maybe more. This is not Atlantic Giant, it's Mammoth, this pumpkin, and it's doing absolutely brilliantly. Can't say any bad word about it, it's absolutely brilliant. Anyway, I'll pause it now and then I'll go and show you my harvest. Welcome back. This is the harvest I've had today. Now, these are my runner beans. I'll just have a quick rummage through and see if I can see the ones that I was talking about with the different colour. Sod's law says I won't find them now. Oh yeah. Right, here we are. Those are the ones I'm talking about. As you can see, or hopefully you can see, they've got greeny purpley mottled markings on them for some reason. Don't know what they are. But anyway, that's the beans. I've then got a small handful of peas, a small handful of purple runner beans, which have come off my Mr. Fortune beans. Some carrots, those are Autumn King. Cylindra beetroot, might have gone a little bit too far, well, I don't know. A round courgette, some Paris Market carrots, a couple of leeks, a couple of small courgettes and a monster, a couple of bolt-hardy beetroots, and then some more carrots. Can't remember the variety of those, I'll have to look them up for you later. But this is basically my first proper big harvest of the season. I've had little bits up to now. Apart from the potatoes, this is the most food I've taken off the allotment so far. And I'm only playing at it yet. I have not really got into growing things properly. I've got my rotations and my successions going. I'm just taking it as it comes. But I think that's pretty good. Yeah, before I sign off, one thing I'd like to say is thank you very much to everybody who's subscribed. I've now gone to the dizzy heights of 110 subscribers. I crept past the 100 without me noticing it. And I've got nearly 4,000 views. Again, I do this just for my own information, so I can look back and see what I've been doing and how things have got on. So that next year I can look back and see where I was up to in June, July, August and so on, and just compare and see what was happening. And so I don't make the same mistakes again, because I forget these things very, very easily because I'm getting old. But I do hope that people find these interesting. And oh yeah, I think it was Blue Star Dave and Chaz and Jeff and Rebelesque, I think it was. If you want to pinch my idea for the bean arch, please go ahead and do it. I pinched it off Alice Fowler in the first place, so it's not mine, it's somebody else's. But try and get the longest poles you can, the willow and the hazel. If you can go and find your own and copies it yourself, then you know that it's coming from a sustainable source, and it's brilliant if you can do that. So give it a try, and good luck with it. Oh, one thing I didn't tell you about while I was here at the back here is the rhubarb. As you can see, it's going absolutely wild. We've harvested loads of it. I'm going to take a few more bits and pieces from it as well, because well, it can handle it. Looking at the state of it, it's not even started to die back yet. So as it starts to die back, I'll stop taking from it. And the ones at the back I'm not taking any, because they're only second year anyway. Pond doing rather well, still full, loads of newts in it still, and I thought they should all be out by now, but they still seem to like it. But anyway, enough of me prattling on. You've heard enough from me now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Good night. Now folks, as promised, this is the monster courgette I was telling you about. I know you can't get a size scale there, so that's my hand on it. £4 14 ounces, £5 courgette. That's a decent bit of fruit. I haven't got a clue what I'm going to do with it, having said that. Freezer's already full of loads of courgettes. I've got plenty of others I've harvested today as well. But anyway, that's it. Speak to you later.